Hello, 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 welcome. My name is Paula Robbins. I am the founder of Sunlit Pathways, and I am so excited today to be here with my friend Ari. Ari Hunniford is the founder of awkwardlyzen. She is also one of the most gifted intuitives that I know.
Oh,
Quick, sharp, knows her stuff. She is the organizer on Meetup of one of the biggest meetups in the world, well, metaphysical meetups, Awkwardly Zen. And she is one of the funniest reel creators on Instagram. So you must follow her. You'll see this information. So again, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Ari. I can't wait to kind of share you with anybody who sees this.
well, thank you, Paula. What a warm welcome. I feel so glowy.
Good. You should. You should. So let's just kind of jump in. Who is Ari? Tell us kind of the long story short.
Long story short, it's a weird one, as it is with so many, I think, metaphysical people and everyone right now, right? Started relatively normal. I was born to my loving parents who are amazing, Bob and Judy, which is like the most parent name ever. And I grew up mostly in Colorado, little bit in Wisconsin, went to school in Colorado. College, I studied theater and directing, which has been a huge blessing in my life that my parents supported my dreams. Not that I actually used those very often. That's not true. I use them all the time, but not that I went into that career path, but still so grateful for them and that support. And then I went into my entrepreneurial life and I have owned multiple different businesses at a variety of success levels. I really love the idea of creating new spaces and being there for people and then everything kind of crashed down for me. So in the middle of all of that creating, I ended up being a foster parent for three teenagers when I was in my like mid 20s, late 20s. So I was only 10 years older than them, which was a fascinating experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I love my kids. I still consider them my kids. And through that, as they got older, um, we still stayed in contact. They're still my family, and they all had a variety of different things that they were struggling with from their upbringing. And I was blessed, like I said, with a very loving home, and so I just fell very naturally into the mom role, even though I wasn't old enough to technically have these kids. It worked out really well. But once they grew up, once they were out of the house and we were still interacting, my son Eddie really struggled with his mental health, and we lost him, gosh, how many years ago now? Many years ago, to his battle with mental health. And that was such a like moment in my life, which you hear with so many spiritual people, right? There was this moment that everything shifted. It was before that and after that. But from that really dark, hard thing came this direct path into where I am now and what I do now. And I always say in my coaching and in Awkwardly Zen, from my darkest moments have come my brightest things, and that's really where we are. So that walked me, the grief of that walked me to essential oils, which walked me to getting readings and spirituality and chakras and all of that, and then that had me start channeling, and I started getting messages for myself, and then one of the messages I kept getting over and over again was I was supposed to start this community. And I was like, who am I to start a spiritual community? Like, this is all so new for me. I'm not a guru. Like, what am I doing? But the message was persistent, as we find out over and over again. And so I kind of had to surrender to it at one point. And in July of 2020, I had a beautiful reading with Lori Hewitt, who's one of the Awkwardly Zen partners and a friend of ours, and she's amazing. And
Yes.
in that reading, she said, your soul council is saying you're supposed to start a meetup. And I went, why would I do that? Meetups online or meetups in person, and we can't be in person right now. And she said, no, 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 they just started doing everything online. And so I started a meetup that day. And 2 days later, we had 60 people, and I went, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And so I called my friends and we got together and on my back porch, socially distanced. It was very early in all of this. And And I didn't even want them to go into my house. It was so funny, the difference now, you know.
Yes.
Um, but while we sat there, I kind of let them know all the downloads I had gotten and all the information I had gotten and kind of the vision I had. And Amber Toach, who is Awkwardly Zen COO, she said, we're in. What do you need? And it changed everything. It went from my thing to our thing. And I am so grateful for that moment every day. I give her a lot of credit because I couldn't do this on my own. Because we went from those 60 people 2 days later from starting it to now we are at we should hit 17,000 people today.
Wow.
We are in 20 different locations. We're in 5 different countries. And so when you look at that growth in less than 4 years, um, I'm just so grateful that I surrendered to the messages that I was giving, even though it was scary. It was really scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I am really honored to be a partner to Awkwardly Zen. And I've loved kind of watching the evolution over this last couple of years since I became a partner. So I've seen a few cool things happen. I've heard a few stories. But from you, what's one of your favorite stories in this journey of growing to 17,000 members globally? What
You
comes to mind?
There's there's so many that it is really impossible to go, "Ooh, this one story." Because the blessings that have come from this group and from being worldwide. Um, I would say my favorite, I don't know if it's necessarily a story, but my favorite thing is the fact that I am currently planning a get together for next week. And that get together is because my best friend, Valerie, is coming to town. She's from Kansas City. My other very good friend, Jillian, is coming in from Seattle. Um, and when I sit and I look at the list of people who I'm inviting and who I'm talking to and what I'm doing, these people, for the most part, were not a part of my life 4 years ago. And to see how the universe, source, God, whatever you want to call it, has pulled each of these individuals together to create and I get chills talking about it, to create this energetic, like, mastermind of people who just want to help other people, who
Right.
are doing the work themselves to feel better in their own skin. And I just love how it happens even when it's ugly. So that real quick story would be the fact that Valerie, who I can't even imagine living without, came to me because we had a mutual friend who introduced Valerie to Awkwardly Zen. And then that mutual friend, the relationship blew up. That person pretty much ghosted me and then Valerie later on. And the idea that something so hard and so challenging allowed us to come together and be the friends that we are now. I am in such gratitude for that really hard thing that I went through, because if it wouldn't have been exactly that way, our relationship would have been different. And so it's just these beautiful moments like that where it's like, even in the challenges of Awkwardly Zen, the beauty that comes out of each one of them is just, it's magical, and it's such a great reminder for me.
I totally agree. That's probably one of my biggest messages in the world is when you're in the heart of a challenge or in the heart of a tough time, buckle up, yes, but also look out for the light because something really cool is going to come from this, some lesson, some value, some gift, like a Valerie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And also being okay with not being okay, I think is important, right? Like in the moment, if someone would have come to me and said, "Hey, this person treating you really badly is going to end up being such a big blessing," I would have been like,
yeah,
I won't say it because it's your podcast, but there'd be some swear words coming out of my mouth. So I I do want to honor that moment. I do want to honor that pain that I went through because that was real in that moment. But it is so beautiful in those dark moments to be able to now go, okay, but remember that that shiny light is right there. And if the more you lean in and allow this discomfort to actually work its way through you, the quicker you get to go to the other side of that, which I think is also a huge benefit and something I work on daily.
sure, sure. Well, speaking of that, so challenges in their own right are a part of growing something so big.
Mm.
As you reflect, I mean, again, One, it's been 4 years, but two, it's only been 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
What have been one of the bigger challenges that, kind of in the grand scheme, you've kind of had to face?
You know, I think for me, because I am someone who likes to have my finger on the pulse of everything. I like to have control. I like to know how things are going to work out and what's going to happen. I've kind of had to throw that out the window completely because there are so many things that I have zero control over, or very little control over. So we work on multiple different platforms. So if Zoom changes something, we are at the will of Zoom. If Meetup changes something, we are at the will of Meetup. And Meetup in itself, as much as I adore that platform, they've gone through their own challenges, which
Yeah.
we've been able to learn from as well. So you have the technological challenges that come with running an online group, but then you also have the personality challenges, right? You have the when you have 17,000 people who are interacting in one way or another, there are people who are going to come in who I want to hold space for because they are where they are, but I also can't let their traumas and their challenges take down the entire group. And so I think one of the biggest things that we had, I in particular, but we, meaning the lead team and the whole setup for Awkwardly Zen, we have an ethics committee, like all of those people, we've had to really stop and say, while our number one rule is love and light and there is no right or wrong, where do we draw that line for somebody coming in and kind of energetically hijacking the group or creating drama that is hurtful to the group, and we just can't have that. And so trying to navigate my own ethics, my own awareness, my own challenges and weaknesses to make sure that it's not a personal vendetta against a certain person
Right.
with me. It is a what's the greatest good for the group? How do we maintain that? I think that's probably been the biggest challenge. And we had some major challenges at the beginning. Source will give you a mirror. And I was having some challenges with a certain demographic. And we had challenges at the beginning until I worked through my own issues and dealt with it, and let go of the fear that I had. Then we were able to kind of loosen up a little bit and a lot of those challenges changed. So that is one thing I am blessed with Awkwardly Zen is there is a constant mirror being put in my face of, so what's going on with you? Why are you feeling this way about it? What can you do? And what do you just have to surrender to because it's out of your control? And surrender is not something that comes naturally, but it's coming more and more naturally the more work I do on myself.
Well, so from my view, sometimes I feel like my view is in the cheap seat. Sometimes I feel like I've got front row. And that's just part of becoming friends and getting to know each other. But
Yeah.
I really see you walking this path of purpose. I really feel that you kind of found your life's purpose in this walk as of this present moment in your life. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And I think what's interesting about life's purpose, as a practitioner, that's a question we get a lot. Like, what am
Yeah.
I here for? What's the point of
Yeah.
all this? And especially, those of us, and especially I would say women who are going through that midlife. Who am I? What do I want to be? Right? Like our kids are grown and we're moving on, and everybody can do this. So I'm not trying to discount anybody, but it is fascinating how many women I have sit across from me who are me.
Right.
Uh, but that purpose, when it's there, it's so loud, right? It's so, so loud. It's so obnoxious. It's so like, if you do not follow me, I am going to smack you upside the head. I'm going to knock you on your tail end. I'm going to do all of these things in a loving way, right? And so for me, it was realizing for a long time, I was like, I can't do this because this is who I am. I can't be a metaphysical person and really put myself out there like this because I work in an industry that doesn't understand that. So I'm going to hurt myself if I do it. Now, Source was patient with me, right? Allowed me to go through the process of realizing that that wasn't truth, that that
Right.
was something that I believed, but it wasn't the actual reality of what was going on. But that purpose was so there and it still is. And there's still moments that come up that are like roadblocks or challenges, and I have to stop and say, is this really where I'm going? But there is nothing in me that can turn away from it. Like there's just not. I am here to help make these connections, to help people have a safe place to explore their spirituality, and in that, to create a safe space for me to explore my spirituality. So I'm not a guru. I'm walking alongside everyone as they're doing the exact same thing that I am in a million different ways. And I just think that that's so beautiful.
I totally agree. I absolutely feel the same way in my own walk of purpose that and it just evolves and it changes and it ebbs and it flows and
Yeah.
we get these glimpses too. And this is kind of a fun question for you because I've gotten to watch how many kind of new things have come in. Like
Right.
as you're walking this path, and I've only known you 2 years. So what's next? What kind of little sparks of light and idea are coming in?
Well, there's two different worlds that I'm working with right now. One of which is awkwardly Zen, and one of which is awkwardly psychic, which is what I call my own business. Um, and really, awkwardly psychic is kind of taking a back seat to Ari Hunniford because I just have started using my name,
Yeah.
and letting it morph and letting it flow. And I think that's the big thing with that is I am trying to maintain space that is filled with more joy than conflict. And so as we look at my personal life, realizing I had to focus on myself a little bit more than I was because
Mhm.
all of my energy was going into the community, and the community doesn't pay any of us. The community is volunteer run, and it's beautiful that it is that way. Eventually, I'd like that to change. I'd love to pay people for all the amazing work that they do, but that's just not where we started. But for me, it was like, okay, well, you stopped doing your muggle job. You're not doing this world anymore. You have to turn that focus in. So for me personally, it is building my Instagram. As you've seen, I I had this little idea that's been in my brain forever. It's not little. It was a huge idea that's been in my brain forever. And I had so much fear around it, which was doing these silly little Instagram videos about spirituality, because the irony and the silliness and the utter ridiculousness of this path.
Yeah.
I hear about it day in and day out, right? In all these meetings. And so I've all these little silly, funny things that have been in there, but I was so scared to put myself out because what if people thought I was stupid? What if they didn't understand it? What if I offended someone? All of those what ifs,
Yep.
right? And the imposter syndrome and all of those things. But then I dove in and I just did it. And I'm so grateful I did, because the joy that I have of making these little videos, the joy I have of sharing them. I got Leo rising in my chart, so I don't mind a spotlight. Being in the spotlight, it's fun for me. It's fun for me. It's still terrifying sometimes, but it's been really a fun adventure. And so there will be more of that. There'll be more silly videos, more growth with that, more public speaking on that side of things. I love to teach. I love to talk. I love to put people together. And that then leads into Awkwardly Zen, which is this idea that while we want to keep the beautiful community that it's always been, and we'll have all of our free events, we do over 30 free events every month. We'll do all of those. We also want to bring in a little bit more of a business aspect. So we just went through that. We brought in a store. We're going to start doing some more little paid events along with all of our free events. So that is all shifting as well. But really, the ultimate vision for Awkwardly Zen is that we want to travel. We want to go to
Mm,
all of our locations and take the partners that want to go. We have over 50 Awkwardly Zen partners, people from all over the world who do what they do so well. We've got you and all these beautiful people in Denver, but the Denver organization gets a lot of attention because this is where I am.
sure.
I love to see that in Salt Lake and in Raleigh and in Dublin that we just started, in London. And so when we start looking at that big picture, I have no idea how we get there, but from the very start, my guides have said it's none of your business.
Right.
None of your business. Just you have to have the dream, you have to have the vision, and then you have to take the steps as they're laid out in front of you. That's my only job. And so when I get too far ahead of myself, they will pause me, that's for sure. But really, what I'm trying to do is be in the moment, be super gratitude for where we are and what we're having, and then get excited about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. because that is when Awkwardly Zen works its best, is when I allow it to unfurl in front of me instead of try to force it into a box that it might not fit because I don't truly understand the full message.
Right. I feel the same way. That has been my journey since 2007, when I started my practice and watched it grow, and all the different little things that just kind of came together to include my introduction to you. And it's been so wonderful to be a part of this and to witness it and to kind of find a community for myself. I mean, I feel so honored to call you friend, to call Valerie friend, Jillian, Lori, Kendera. I mean, there's so many beautiful people,
Yeah.
Amber, that are a part of Awkwardly Zen that have become close friends of mine too.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful to be a partner and to be a part of it, and that you took the time to come and tell everybody about who you are. I'm sure that, those who see this will see the light that you shine, the gift that you are. And I hope they see your funny videos because they're one of my favorite things that you do.
Thank
I
you.
think they're awesome. I'm so glad you took that chance. They're incredible. So tell everybody how to find you. What information do you want me to share here? Do you want people to see, to find you, Awkwardly Zen? Where are you?
So the easiest way I think to find so many of the people we've talked about today is go to awkwardlyzen.com. The partners page there will have me, it has Paula, it has everybody. And on each one of those partners, you can then click through to their own sites, their own landing pages, that kind of thing. Or some of them, it'll just be, hey, email me and book, because we have people at different levels. So that's the easiest way to find me there, or on Instagram at Ari Hunniford, which I'm sure you'll throw out there.
Right.
That also has me. And then in my bio for that, you can find my snip feed, which is where you book with me, where you can find out information. If I'm teaching classes, that'll be where it's linked to as well. And so that's probably the easiest way to find me.
And I will include all of that. I'll put the website for Awkwardly Zen. I'll put the Instagram link. I'll put the snip feed so people can find you. And I'm so grateful you took the time. It's just so fun to kind of share this walk with you. And I'm so glad that I found you and I
Me too.
found Awkwardly Zen. It's been a really cool ride. It's really been beneficial for me and my own personal growth. Um, Professionally, but also intuitively. I've gotten to really see, whoa, wait a minute. There's some gifts I didn't really know I had. And in some of the little events and efforts and things that we've gotten to do together, there's been more lights coming on. So
Love
what a
that.
cool walk.
And I'll just to finish up, I think that's part of being in community, right? Is
Mm,
that if you surround yourself with people who are striving to feel comfortable in their own skin and feel their best, there is this call to match that. Uh,
right.
and and I think that it happens so naturally and it happens so beautifully. And it's one of my favorite things about Awkwardly Zen is watching everyone morph into these different humans, and it's only going to keep happening. And I just think that that's so great. So community, whether it's Awkwardly Zen or another spiritual community, find somewhere that makes you feel safe and heard and understood. Um, and I just think it is so powerful on every individual journey.
Yes, I completely agree. And I think that that is something that we both really see, not only eye to eye, but where the path is going. Let's bring people together. Let's help them feel connected and safe and heard. I love it. I love it. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again. So grateful that you took some time to chat with us, and I can't wait to just share you with the world. You are such a brilliant light.
Thank you for having me, Paula.
You bet.